Okay, so how's everybody doing? So just a quick shout out. Thanks for all the subscribers. It keeps on growing. I was really impressed with the Model Railroad Shop Talk episode. How to avoid or buyer's remorse. How I avoid it anyway. Like the comments are fantastic. Like I've read every one of them, and I'll continue to do so and try to respond authentically to every one of them. You can count on that. I didn't think it would get the traction that it got. Like it really surprised me. The comments are great. I welcome any comment. Any opinion. I really appreciate every one of you. You're all unique. You're all intelligent. You all bring really good questions and observations to the channel that I really appreciate. But what I want to talk about here is the prototype versus the whimsical when we model. And the reason why I want to do it is because there was a comment that I want to mention that was brought up on the last episode I think I did on the bridge facade part 2. And it's a really great comment. It goes like this. Bridge looks great. DQ kind of looks out of place. Just my opinion. Now, I really like comments like that. I like the boldness, of somebody logging in and, or just like, even if they're not a subscriber, maybe they are, I don't know for sure, but sharing their opinion about something, even if I disagree with them, I welcome it. Now, I do agree with them from the whimsical point of view, or pardon me, the prototypical point of view. It doesn't maybe look, or it looks out of place. But from the whimsical point of view, which is subject to erratic behavior or unpredictable change, opposed to the prototype, a standard or essential pattern, these two philosophies are not hard and fast rules. At least they aren't for me. Like, I'm not going to get caught up into, the prototypical to a point where, I become isolated in my own dark corner and I count every rivet and everything has to make sense, and then I'm all bound up and I can't model because I'm so worried or concerned about, somebody critiquing it and pointing out something that just doesn't fit according to building codes, etc. Now, I understand that, and I encourage prototypical modeling. I have no problem with the NMRA standard. I think it's one of the best things that's happened to the hobby, but I'm not going to adhere to it every time. Like, I'll give you a quick example, like coupler height. Like, I see a lot of people doing reviews, and I get that. That's great. But coupler height, I mean, get out there in the real world and take some photos of coupler heights. Like, I'll show you one. Okay? And then I'll also show you a photo up against a bridge column that would be very similar to the Dairy Queen here. See, so there you have it. Like, as soon as we think something doesn't exist or looks out of place, if we're really out there in the world doing field trips or have lived long enough, we know that really nothing is. Like, you're always surprised, right? So I guess my point is when we model, like, don't get hogtied to prototypical standards. Like, don't let that bind you up. Like, just like here, I'll give you an example. Like, this Dairy Queen was an experience and a memory. Like, I scratch built this because this is what the Dairy Queen that I used to go to when I was a kid after school. When you were kind of interested in girls and stuff. You go hang out there, right, and buy them a cone, and they'd run away giggling or something to the other boy that was better looking than you. That kind of thing. Like, it was all great fond memories. The bridge itself was what I played. I used to go and play under this bridge when I was a kid. So I'm just merely combining two experience or moments that I cherish as a child, right? Or a kid growing up. Another friend of mine who sent me an email, and at first I questioned it concerning the content, but I respect it, and he is right in a way. He's a dear friend of mine, and he said, you can talk about all the great memories and experiences that make trains special in our lives. Now, within the context of model railroading, that does make a lot of sense. Because it's those experiences that have prompted every one of these models that I've applied whimsically to this layout, which makes it what it is. Like this BC rail building, for example, is actually prototypical. It's not in the prototypical location, but I used to jump the Royal Hudson in the summers up to Squamish, and it was parked in front of this shop building, BC Rail. Okay, quickly then, this building here is not prototypical, but the color was inspired by somebody else's content on a prototypical video. The building's not prototypical. This little yard shed is semi-prototypical, but I used artistic license there as well to change the footprint to fit the area. This Wi-Fi tower over here, it's prototypical, looks just like that, but it's not in a prototypical location. However, the grain elevator associated with it is. This grain elevator is probably 95, maybe 90% prototypically accurate as a scale model, but I didn't really, I built this first and then I sort of evolved the whole layout around it. So these are, like, I love that old grain elevator. I've been going by it for 30 years. So every one of these models, maybe apart from the one down the end, which I keep kicking the can down the road with that one and saving it for later on down the road. Every one of these scenes, like even the trees, like I live in an area where these trees are quite prominent, these big Douglas firs. Even though these I cheated, I had to make them smaller because they're 200 feet high. They go through the top of the valance. So, every one of these little scenes, and I think some of you understand that, are just prompted by, human experiences to do with the railroad and growing up. So, is the DQ kind of out of place? Yes, it is. Is it inappropriate for this layout? I don't think so. So there you have it, the prototypical versus the whimsical. Okay? Don't let the prototypical dogma interfere with the freedom of your creativity when you build your layouts. Have fun with it, man. It'll look good and authentic if you apply yourself. And we don't need lots of cars. Just to touch on the Buyer's Remorse episode earlier on, just in closing, all these cars that you see here, the center flow and all these box cars, they were all 28 bucks Canadian. Every one of them. 28 to 30 bucks. Including this Fox Valley one, which you can still get, and it has metal KD couplers for $30 Canadian. I'll make an exception, but generally I agree with most of those comments. You can take blue box stuff or cheaper stuff and paint it up, and it looks just like anything else. Okay, so thanks for tuning in, and I hope that you all have a great day.